So with that in mind, the next news we're going to talk about is Far Cry's coming back again quickly. So we found out that this is a question mark, by the way. There is talk that 2 new Far Cry games are coming out, Far Cry 7 and a multiplayer one. They're pulling the Last of Us kind of tactic thing. If people don't know, Far Cry is a Ubisoft property, and it's probably one of their mainstream franchises. And to this point, based on this news, it's probably one of their most popular ones because, you know, Far Cry doesn't really get announced news very quickly. It's always like every 2 or 3 years we hear an announcement of that. I like Far Cry, but I think a lot of people are on the same boat of the whole been there, done that kind of vibe. You know, just choose a location and we've been there and done that already kind of mentality of it. You know, we have been to the tropicals. We've been to an African jungle. We have been to the Himalayas. We have been in the good world of the old country back of Montana style kind of game. And another exotic place.
Paradise.
Yeah.
For Far Cry 6.
Mm-hmm.
It's right on time though, because Far Cry 6 came out in 2021.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's very true.
I did a double take for it because I was like, really? 2021? Are you sure? It feels like it came out just last year.
Yeah, because no one was talking about it till that time, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's the timeline tracks.
Yes, exactly. 7. But that's not only. See, it's funny because we do get more Far Cries a year than we think. The problem is they're just not set up like a multiplayer. Most of them are just like mini stories that are a continuation in their own way. For instance, Far Cry 5 was more of a future, more of apocalypse kind of style for it. But it was
New
more,
Dawn.
Yeah, but it was more sunny in spring. We had prehistoric. We had a prehistoric one. We had an 80s Blood Dragon edition.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. And, you know, people can say, you know, yes, copy and paste from the game engine that they have for that. I don't care. I think Blood Dragon was awesome for what it did. I would play a whole game of Blood Dragon if it was.
Well, nobody was really complaining about it because if you got Far Cry 3, you got Blood Dragon for free.
Yeah, but they were saying like prehistoric caveman was basically the same thing. I was like Uncharted 4, but they didn't do anything too special. I don't know. I never played it. I'm not going to go into that conversation. But one thing for sure is they said that Far Cry 7 will be maybe set in Alaska this time, so out in the cold and stuff. And to me, I'm getting that look like you're getting. I'm like another, like, I guess I want something different. Like, I think what Blood Dragon and the prehistoric one was interesting was it did something quite different, and it didn't do like just name a location,
name a biome, and put a game there.
Yeah, and I think Far Cry is falling into that trap of like they don't know what to do with it. They're just more of like, let's just get an interesting character in there. Let's get the fetch. Let's go to A, B, and C. The Uncharted treatment. I mean, not Uncharted treatment. The Assassin's Creed treatment. Like you go to some whatever tower.
Also Ubisoft.
Yeah, basically.
The Ubisoft tower regiment. Go to tower, unlock a bunch of quests.
It's too safe, Jerron. It's too safe. They're playing too safe, and they're not taking the ambitious risk of how popular this series is, where you're doing so well. Why don't you take a chance and see what happens? True. 100%. 100%. It's always going to money. It's always going to be that answer. You don't even have to ever tell me, but I have to say it out loud because I know someone out there is thinking of that. But did you know that this Alaska idea was part of a survey? It was part of a survey back in 2015. No, I never heard about the survey. Maybe I didn't look hard enough for survey because maybe I don't like surveys. I don't know. But there was some crazy ideas they said that they were mentioning. So would you like to hear some ideas that they had for settings and other places they wanted to do this? And let's decide what do we want to see this. So after I give you this list, I want you to tell me which one stood out to you and which one do you think had a great opportunity to impress you to play this. So, of course, we mentioned Alaska. Now, another one was Peru. We don't know exactly what the actions were going to be. I think one of them was like a cocaine trafficking kind of thing with Peru. Vietnam War. We have the Vietnam War. One is spaghetti Western style in the 19th century. One we have fighting against or joining vampires. A Mad Max post-apocalypse. A modern day in Jurassic Park style. With zombies.
Sounds like Primal. Sounds like Red Dead Undead Nightmare. I'm gonna be real with you. Aside from Alaska, which does have green areas, I would probably be more a pull towards Vietnam or Peru. but only if it did the twist in the Peruvian one, where you were quite clearly the bad guy.
Mhm.
You know, you were quite clearly the bad guy, and you were taking your empire. I'm not saying do a Scarface, but
Mhm.
you know, you were bad guy and taking your empire back, because you know it'd be a twist on, oh, you're this person and you're doing bad things for a good reason, all that other stuff. It's like, no, you're bad, you're doing bad things, but you're taking it from badder people. So, but that's my opinion. I would say Peru or Western.
Man, I'm totally opposite, man. I always wanted to see Far Cry do a kind of a Western style. I think the
Yeah.
gameplay fits more of a Western style. The spaghetti Western 19th century really calls me out more because it'd be interesting to see how I think that's my issue is I want Far Cry to be more challenge themselves. Like, how would they do a Western in that kind of style? Like, you got your horses. Yes, Red Dead did it, and nothing's going to be compared to Red Dead, and we should. But it doesn't mean
It's going to be compared to Red Dead no matter what.
but we shouldn't be afraid to still do a style game. It can still be
Yeah.
a good Western game, and it could be their Western game.
Yeah.
And I wish people sorry, I'm rumbling in my words all the guy. I wish people weren't afraid to do something just because someone else is very dominant in it. Just, you will get if the game is good, you'll get a fan base.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we got Evil West.
Yeah.
I can't speak to how good it is, but we got it.
Yeah, and Far Cry is different enough that it would separate itself from Red Dead, and it kind of does its own thing. And it could probably come up with some ideas that Red Dead didn't try to do in their own thing that they could do in this spaghetti Western style. I think it's a great opportunity to, for riding horses, to do duos. Everything in first person would be very interesting. I'll do the selection of the guns. Yeah, sure. You're going to have your famous, like, you do your bounty huntings, and all that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of potential in that one.
I meant to say Vietnam again, not Western. Vietnam and Peru for me.
Oh, okay. But the Jurassic Park one, why not? Why not Yeah, why not?
I saw how they did it in Far Cry 4 and in Far Cry Primal, and it did not impress me.
Okay.
And
but not a modern day, say like like a Dino Crisis kind of realm kind of thing. Not like them, but kind of in that setting, like a modern.
Oh, you mean on an island with dinosaurs that are running amok?
Well, it doesn't say islands. This is a modern day with dinosaurs. So I don't like. Well, they say like a Jurassic Park style. Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I just don't think Ubisoft could pull it off.
You don't think they could pull off the dinosaurs? Okay.
Not in a fun way, because
okay.
I mean,
not a Turok style. Not a Turok style.
Man, I would love for a Turok the Dinosaur Hunter. I would love for Ubisoft to actually get and bring that property back. Don't make me start drooling.
But Far Cry can't turn that into a Turok to you. It can be a Turok, but not the title itself.
You know what? Before they do a Turok, I would prefer them do their little dinosaur Far Cry thing. Hell, you can make it an offshoot. You can make it like Blood Dragon using Far Cry 6 or 7's engine and technology or assets. And if they pull that off and it's fun, then they have my blessing for Turok.
Okay.
And only then.
Okay. I think it'd be fun if they really lean on the goofiness of it. And have fun with the dinosaurs. They don't do it too seriously. I think that's what make it stand out. And if you could, for me, I think what Blood Dragon did very well was it fit the era. I wonder what like a 70s style Jurassic Park game would be like. A game set in the 70s for this would be. What about an 80s? Something a little bit of a twist of where we're going with this. The not human trafficking, but the trafficking drugs of Peru, it kind of feels like a been there, done that in my opinion.
Yeah, it's way too tropey, but
yeah,
then again, a lot of Far Cry stuff is tropey.
Yeah, unless you do like he is, I guess you can maybe do it where he's an undercover agent that has to play double-sided or something like that, so you can do the bad, but you can also be good too. And, based on your decisions, they can do that, I guess. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a suggestion there. Vietnam War, I mean, that would be out of their realm, too, because you have a giant war that they're going through all this. And so, like, how do you do that in an open world of battles and missions and sides and all this stuff while enemies are always tracking you down? That might be interesting. I'm not 100% sure.
What's interesting is that it's very short list of games that use the Vietnam setting. I find, we have our World War One, World War Two, and then we have our Desert Storm and our perpetual war against terror and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we rarely ever have any Korean War or Vietnam War settings.
Mm-hmm.
Like Battlefield did, Vietnam expansion.
Bad
There was
Company
like
too. Mm-hmm.
And there was another Vietnam game I can't remember. But
I know you're talking about. It was on the PS2. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
like Operation Vietnam, I think it was called, something like that.
Yeah, but that's it. I think to do it right would be technologically limiting because you have to capture the denseness of the jungles. Not to mention the fact that part of it was enemies could come from anywhere. Firing could come from whatever direction. Mm-hmm. You did not know what was up. I don't know. They have to capture the uncertainty, the unfamiliarity, the paranoia. Mm-hmm. There would be a lot of stuff they'd have to capture to make it convincing.
Now, I'm not rooting for this, but I think they had the potential to do it, and only because now Redfall is coming out. We'll be talking about that soon. But when they said fight vampires, join vampires, I could see that engine and that style work as a vampire hunting game. I think that could work well with that. But because now Redfall's doing it, it's hard to now think about Far Cry doing it, because then they'll get compared to that particularly. But I'm just going based on the engine of what they can do with like kind of like going to like a Transylvania big city, because a lot of Far Cry games don't really focus on an open big city. It's always big landscapes. So doing a whole big city, like a whole London city,
an urban setting,
sure.
Like a big urban setting?
Sure, yeah. Think of it like Assassin's Creed Syndicate, that kind of like big style city, and that's your whole world, and you're just hunting vampires in this city or something like that, and you have different landmarks on top of buildings and roofs or something like that. That could work for that idea.
Go back to the formula.
I never said throw the formula out. I was just about to say it.
Is that they could do it. The thing is, would they do it competently?
See, but that's the thing you have to put the trust in, right? We don't know until they show us. But I'd rather be surprised at them taking that attempt and saying like, well, another place, Alaska. I'd rather be, because at least vampires or the spaghetti western or the Jurassic Park, you might be skeptical about it, but it would interest you.
Yeah,
that's what I think. That's what I wanted to go with. Like, it would interest you.
That's why I think they would do it, but it wouldn't be a main entry. It would be, like you said, Blood Dragon, or with Far Cry 6, it would be like a little side DLC where they reuse the same engine and assets, or Primal, where it's not a main number.
Yeah, and that's sad, because I would really want them to do it like a main number, but I get that Far Cry is such in the formula of just close your eyes and spin the globe and point, and that's where we're gonna go. So,
and if you want the crazy coked out idea stuff, those are the in betweens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.